What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your $600 second stimulus check update and your $2,000 third stimulus check update. The big breaking news this morning is the Democrats have taken control of the Senate. Mitch McConnell will no longer be majority leader. He will no longer be able to delay the $2,000 stimulus check that has already passed the House. We're going to hear from who will be the new majority leader, which is Chuck Schumer from the Democrats, on how quickly they want to pass the $2,000 stimulus checks, as well as multiple stimulus checks going forward, which is a big Biden administration objective, checks until the pandemic is over. We're going to go over that in addition to all the other priorities that the Democrats and the Biden administration will now possibly be able to accomplish, which includes the $2,000 stimulus checks, student loan forgiveness, $200 per month Social Security increase, free college possibly higher taxes, although I think that might be a little bit later on in the tenure, possibly in a year or two when we come out of the recession, but that is something that Biden administration wants. Checks until the pandemic is over, stimulus checks, rent relief, rental assistance. Going to see more of that coming out. Another eviction moratorium or eviction ban that will be extended possibly, and right now it only goes till the end of January 2021, and more unemployment assistance that only goes till March. We'll see an extension of that. We're going to jump right in here. Don't forget to give this video a like, and if you're new here, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new updates. I will be walking you guys through all these different multiple stimulus checks now that Mitch McConnell is no longer going to be the leader of the Senate, and the Democrats will have control of the House and the Senate and the presidency if what's going on right now doesn't delay or contest the election. We're going to see a lot of stimulus now in the future. Biden says checks until the pandemic is over. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to hear from Senate Majority Leader now, or soon, Chuck Schumer, on how fast they want to pass the $2,000 stimulus checks. So right now, as we speak, they are trying to certify the Electoral College vote in Congress from both the Senate and the House. Remember, we have 140 different Republicans that are going to object to this, and this likely is going to take some time. This is going on right now. President Donald Trump has been pressuring Vice President Mike Pence, as the Vice President is the one presiding over this ceremony. Trump says to Mike Pence, "This is a time for extreme courage." White House officials told Fox News on Tuesday that Pence will, quote, "follow the law," but that's an extremely gray area on what they will be doing. I may have an update for you guys on this later on our second channel, the Daily Dirt, around 6-ish p.m. Eastern Time. On the stimulus checks and the Senate race, which is oh so important, as most of you guys know, it does look like both of the Democrats have cemented their lead even further, with Warnock leading Loeffler by about, 50,000 votes here, and Ossoff leading Perdue by 18,000 votes, with 99% of the votes cast being counted. This has not ticked to 100%, but this is within the rights to recount. But normally a recount only changes the votes by a couple hundred, not anywhere close to 18,000. Now, the important thing is that Mitch McConnell will no longer be majority leader. Remember, just last week, they passed in the House of Representatives with an overwhelming majority from both Democrats and Republicans a stimulus check for $2,000. This is a bump up or a plus up to $2,000. So technically it's $1,400 plus the $600 that you would have just received. We've heard from Biden that if the Democrats are reelected, which in the Senate, which they are now, that he wants to make the checks $2,000. We're not sure if they mean a plus up of $1,400 or $2,000. But since the Democrats will be controlling the House, the Senate, and the presidency, I expect Biden to go through with his previous plan of multiple stimulus checks until the pandemic is over. Dr. Fauci says that won't be until fall of 2021. So we could be in for 6 to 9 more months of the pandemic, especially because only 1% of the population in the US is vaccinated right now. So this is going to probably go on for a long, long time. Also, there's a possibility that the Democrats will get rid of the filibuster rule, which requires a lot of the bills that pass in the Senate to have 60 votes. So, if that maintains, it will still mean that the Democrats will have 50 and they will need 10 Republicans to pass most bills. And we know that we have enough support to pass the $2,000 bill because we've heard from both Republican Senator Josh Hawley and Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, along with lots of, I don't know how many other Republican senators, but there is enough votes to pass this $2,000 stimulus check, especially now that the Democrats have picked up 3 seats in the Senate. They used to have 47, now they have 50. So they, instead of needing 13 Republican votes, they only need 10. There's already talk about possibly getting rid of the filibuster rule, which will not require 60 votes to pass in the Senate. It will only require 51 votes. We'll have to see if that happens. That'll be interesting if it does also. Right now, let's go and hear from Senate Minority Leader, soon to be Majority Leader Chuck Schumer from the Democrats in the Senate about how quickly they want to pass the $2,000 stimulus checks.
Majority is committed to delivering the bold change and help that Americans need and demand. Senate Democrats know America is hurting. Help is on the way. And we have 2 new senators coming to help. One of the first things that I want to do when our new senators are seated is deliver the $2,000 checks to the American families. Senators Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff ran first-rate campaigns. They will be outstanding senators for Georgia. When Raphael Warnock was born, both of Georgia's senators were segregationists. Yesterday, Georgia just elected its first African-American to the United States Senate in its history. And John Ossoff has been on the ground, working it for years. He was never daunted, persistent, never gave up. I'm so proud of both their campaigns and so excited to welcome them to the United States Senate. Couldn't come at a better moment. Now, I've already spoken to President Biden this morning, and I pledged to him that as Majority Leader, President Biden and Vice President-elect Harris will have a partner in me and my caucus who is ready, willing, and able to help achieve a forward-looking agenda and deliver bold change to the American people. For too long, much-needed help has been stalled or diluted by a Republican-led Senate and President Trump. That will change with a Democratic Senate, a Democratic House, and a Democratic President. One of the things I'm most excited about is that we have had so much talent in our Democratic caucus, and all that talent has been bottled up. They haven't really been allowed to participate and put legislation on the floor. Now that is all going to be, all that talent that's been bottled up for so long will be unleashed. And you'll see amazing things coming out of our new chairs and subcommittee chairs. They'll be able to showcase their talents and accomplish great things. It excites me. And as a caucus, we will work every single day to reward the faith that the American people have placed in us. Thank you. I'm not going to take many questions because today's a very busy day, and you'll hear more from me on the floor later today, as well over the coming days and months and weeks and years. But I'll take a question or two. Yeah.
You're making it sound like the $2,000 checks will be your first major piece of legislation. Will it be limited to just the checks?
I'm not going to get into either prioritizing or details. I said what I said about the checks. It's one of the first things we want to do once our new senators are seated. They campaigned on it.
And do you,
Next. What?
Leader Schumer, the last time there was a 50-50 Senate, there was a power sharing agreement between Senator Daschle and Locke. Do you foreshadow that happening with you, with Senator McConnell?
Well, look, I look forward to sitting down with Leader McConnell. We have a lot of things to discuss. We first have to wait till the races are certified and the new senators are here and Vice President Kamala is in the chair before we can put anything in place. But certainly we'll have to talk. Yes.
What do you anticipate?
Yep, he's him.
Follow up on two questions. Have you spoken with Leader McConnell yet?
Not this morning, no.
And the question about the $2,000 check is, are you envisioning a larger package, or is that standalone?
I'm not going to, as I told you, it's one of the first things we want to do. Our Georgia senators campaigned on it. Our caucus is strongly for it. We think the American people need it.
That was a $2,000 check.
How does this change the calendar? How does this change the way forward on nominations?
We
at
haven't,
this point?
look, obviously, with Democratic control, the ability of Joe Biden to move nominations forward will be easier. The calendar I haven't begun to look at yet. Last one.
Mr. Schumer, could you just expound a little bit about what the moment when you found out that you would be the majority leader? And then just secondarily, progressives are really still pushing you to nuke the legislative filibuster. Can you make that promise right now?
Look, what we're going to do, we Senate Democrats know we face one of the greatest crises Americans have. We're united in wanting big, bold change, and we're going to sit down as a caucus and discuss the best ways to get that done. And the first question?
The moment you found out, just tell us a little bit.
Yeah, I was sitting at home in Brooklyn watching my television, and at about midnight, having talked to Ossoff about 3 or 4 times and Warnock several times, I realized that even though he was behind then by about a couple of thousand votes, that all the votes that were coming in were going to be Democratic votes, and the odds were very, very high that he would win. And wow, who would have thought, as I said, this is not the path we chose to get here, but we're here. Thank you, everybody.
So yeah, you could see they were peppering it with questions already about the $2,000 stimulus checks and getting rid of the filibuster and all sorts of things. He said that the $2,000 checks are going to be, did he say their first priority or one of the first priorities? We know that because that bill already passed the House and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell just delayed it. So now they won't be having to do that. The question is, how fast will this happen? Because here's why. So one, you've seen that they have to certify the results. And then Kamala, it's a 50-50 tie right now in the Senate. The tiebreaker will be Kamala Harris, and she doesn't come in until January 20th, which is less than 2 weeks away now at this point. But the question is, will Mitch McConnell kind of, how do I put this? Will he, knowing that he's going to be losing his power, try to push some things through, getting some concessions? For example, Mitch McConnell, knowing that the Democrats are going to push through the $2,000 stimulus check bill within the next few days, will Mitch McConnell say, well, let's just do it now, but we'll push through my version of the $2,000 stimulus bill with some of the concessions in there? That can happen literally as early as tomorrow even. And the other thing is that Mitch McConnell might try to push some bills through so that he can get some concessions on while he's still the majority leader. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I've seen a lot of you guys down below in the comments, and I've seen pretty much everywhere saying that Mitch McConnell himself cost the Republicans at these 2 Senate seats and thus the Senate by delaying this $2,000 stimulus package that he knew was going to pass. We had his own Republican senator saying that it will pass. There is enough people to pass it, and he just delayed the bill, which is classic Mitch McConnell. I mean, he's been doing that for years. He did that with the HEROES Act that passed the House of Representatives. He didn't even put it to a vote, okay? That would have been a $1,200 stimulus check package months ago. And yeah, I know that there was a lot of kind of pork in there that Nancy Pelosi pushed in there, and it was probably too big of a bill for the time, and it had a lot of things that weren't related, but he didn't even put it to a vote, and he didn't even, like give Nancy Pelosi a counter bill. Like, he just delayed it. So Mitch McConnell will no longer be able to do that, which going forward really makes the possibility of multiple stimulus checks, the student loan forgiveness, the $200 higher Social Security checks, Social Security per month, student loan forgiveness, all these things, rent relief, eviction ban, unemployment boost going forward until the pandemic is over. All that stuff becomes a very real possibility with the $2,000 checks just going to be passed very quickly here. Question is, will they be a plus up of $1,400 to make it 2,000, or will it be $2,000 on top of the $600 that a lot of you guys are already receiving? And will it include $2,000 for children and adult dependents, or will Mitch McConnell try to push his bill through first and kind of get that one out of the way, thinking that maybe it'll tide people over for a little bit? That's going to be a big question: is will Mitch McConnell try to push his $2,000 bill through so he can get some type of concessions now, or will he make them wait a few days until Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer becomes the majority leader, and then they can just start plowing through all sorts of bills and legislation and even possibly get rid of the filibuster? I will keep you guys updated. I'm also going to have another video tonight at 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. We're going to go over the new breaking information that we're going to be getting from the Senate and the $2,000 stimulus checks, as well as the presidential certification ceremony that's going on right now. Also, I will have another video most likely for you guys today around 6 p.m.-ish on the Daily Dirt. So make sure you subscribe to that. This bottom video is my newest video from the Daily Dirt from yesterday about the presidential election challenge going on today. This top video is my newest stimulus check video on this channel. Make sure to subscribe to both channels, and I will see you in the next video.